And our first focus is now for Miss Emma Paulino.
So we are a faith-based organization that works around issues that affects the community. We are a multi-faith, multi-race, multi-ethnic. The center of our work is leadership development. And the main tool for us is relationship building. Everything we have been doing for 50 years in Auckland and now across the nation and doing international work in Rwanda, Central America, and Haiti is using the same tool that I'm going to present and share with you today. And everything again is based in relationships building. The organizers in our organizing model is not the organizers we are not the one who decide what people should organize around. We run what we call listening campaign, which means we sit in a one-to-one conversation, in a face-to-face conversation, where right now we are doing Zoom. But in the normal time, if I can say, we sit with people. And I'm just going to share really quick around the structure of these conversations. So the person who asks or invite the other person to have a one-to-one with is the person who's going to be there listening to people. And listening means really like putting your whole body, your whole mind into that conversation. So you will be able to do a few things. One is to start to build the relationships by sharing our stories. And I'm going to go back to that part. Number two of that is, but the first one is really intentional conversation. It's not a casual conversation that I met somebody in the hall and we are chatting around wherever. This is a very intentional conversation, and always have an why. Why I'm gonna be meeting with Dr. Ida. And I do have the intention. That means I'm setting up the time with her, and that means I'm gonna be able to sit with her for at least 30 minutes. And I'm gonna be going out there open to learn, so I can start building the relationship with her or with him. In any case, I'm gonna be open to identify what are the concerns that the other person has. What are the priorities out of those concerns that she or he may bring to the conversation? And something that is very important for us is why? Why is this important? Why is this issue or this problem important for him or for her? And the why is coming from how does that affect your life or your community? These are really simple points, but are really critical. Because when you go there, you are prepared for that conversation, and you are open to learn and open to identify what may gonna move Dr. Ida, if that will be the case, to act, to do something. Because I'm the organizer, I'm not gonna come to this conversation with the ideas about you should do this and that, or I'm gonna do this or that for you. This is about identifying the other person's self-interest and inviting her or him to move. Okay, so before I'm going there, but I just want to enter from that place because I want to explain the whole Pico organizing model. But this is the main tool or the main element of the whole 4 areas of the Pico organizing model are based on relationships. So anything that we move using this organizing model is the foundations, is the relationships that we build with people. So this is our organizing model. Again, it's very simple. So we start with the one-to-one conversation where we share our stories, build relationships, and identify people's self-interest. And in fact, we do have a principles, what we call our principles, right? So one of the principles for the one-to-one conversation is self-interest moves people. And the other one is power is the result of relationships. The second part of this organizing model is doing research meetings. So why we do research meetings? Because when we have problems, when we are living in situations in our neighborhood, in our cities, we tend to believe that these are the responsible for that, these are the responsible for this, so these are the so there are so many people who are naming or pointing finger in different, whether it's the government, whether it's the police, whether it's the healthcare people, whether so there are so many players in people's minds when they identify issues affecting their lives. If it's education, is the school, the superintendent, the school principal, the teacher, you name it, right? It depends on the issues where people start to play ideas around who is responsible for this, for the poor quality of education, who is responsible, right? We do research meetings to understand who is responsible and how can we change that. How can we work together with the other partners or with those responsibles to improve the quality of education, around access to housing, healthcare, immigration policies, or you name it. So we do research meetings, and during this process of research meetings, we do a few things that are really important. We understand how power plays and how decisions are made. We build power with people, we build relationships with people in power. And we come more together with more clear understanding around really identifying who are those responsible. And we have another principle for that, is going dumb and coming back smart. So when we go, it's not that we are dumb, but it's simple that sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So we always go to these research meetings with open minds. Maybe sometimes, in my career as an organizer, almost for 30 years, I find out sometimes we met, for example, with somebody who represents the senator. Sometimes the people who is coming to this meeting has more information that the rep for that senator. Why? Because when people are on the ground, sometimes are much more equipped with a lot of information. So we kind of educate people around how those issues affect us and what could be done, right? So it's like we both learn, and again, we build relationships. That's really important part. And in doing that, we start to, put more, our muscles are coming more stronger because we have more than in the beginning. The third part of it is running what we call a public action, a public meeting. So during this process, the one-to-ones process are a continuous process. It's not that we do one round. During the whole process, we go back. So people who meet to do the research meetings go back to the large community and share with them. This is what we find out, right? So there is a group of people who represent the rest of the community and come back. So on the day of the action, I'm gonna give you an example that is recently, the last meetings that we had. One of them was around education. We brought 2,200 people to that large action. We had another meeting, many meetings around illegal dumping, the trash in our streets in Oakland. We brought 700 people at one of the meetings, 600 to the other one, 400. So we have been, during the last 5 years working around illegal dumping. We have brought like almost 4,000 people to different meetings. What that means for us, we have power to change systems and to create new systems. And this is using this simple organizing model. And our Pico principle for this part is power is taking, not giving. Right? And the other principle is control the agenda, control the outcome. So when we have these meetings, it's not the organizer, it's not the ED of the organization who runs these meetings. It's the community, the people on the ground who are suffering, who are struggling, who are demanding the changes. So our work, my job, is to empower them, to help them to discover their power, and to give the tools to exercise the power to make the changes. And the last part of these 4 areas is, people are not responsible for what they don't know, right? You don't know, you are not responsible. You cannot, we cannot hold people responsible for what they don't know. And another important principle around power is the ability to act. To me, this is one of the most really fulfill my imagination when I think about the ability to act. If we feel disempowered, we do not have the ability to act. Our community build the power and they have the ability to act and to say enough is enough, as we say in some of the meetings. And we evaluate. After each one of these sessions, we always evaluate what worked, what didn't work. So I just want to give you an overview around the Pico organizing model. I want to open up for a few questions before I go back to the one-to-one.
Emma, thank you so much. And I know for the sake of time to be able to hear everybody, this is so rich. So Kathy Norwood here, Dr. Norwood. This model is so powerful. And to see how you start at the one-on-one level and the ability then to eventually impact over 4,000 people and empower them and advocate and build up that inner voice is just incredible. I'm in the process of starting an international professional coaching school, and I really plan to access this and integrate this in based on the work that you're doing. So I want to thank you for that. My question is, what is the process you teach people to do to be ready for that one-on-one conversation where they can truly lay their agenda aside and listen at that deep level?
This is a great question, and this is where the real work starts, right? We invest. Let us say that today, before coming to this meeting, we just finished with Dr. Ida another meeting, right? We're gonna meet with the director of the Oakland Public Workers. We need to prepare an agenda. Dr. Ida and the team that is coming to this group, they already have the skills, the ability, they understand power and everything. And yet we still have to come and prepare the agenda, come up with the questions. We do not overwhelm people with so many questions. 3 or 4 questions, but they're key questions, right? In every single meeting. But the real work happened between after the one-to-one and the next step in this process, right? For example, in order for we call leaders, our members are leaders who lead the work, who do the work. And we're gonna do role play, Dr. Ida and myself in a few minutes. So you will see, but what happened is after the first conversation, if the person sees that there is interest in the other person in doing something, we invite them to participate. We invite them to whatever is gonna happening in the work that we are doing. Hey, join us, we're gonna have this meeting. We don't try to recruit people, to force people, nothing. Because what is key in this process is self-interest moves people. So if I invite you to come to the meeting, you're gonna be there because you care about the issue. Yes, I was a tool to invite you, but the decision is yours because that affects you and your loved ones, right? Or the people you care about. So what I do, and I love, this is the beauty of my work. I love sitting with people and training them in a one-to-one basis. And we do trainings also in our groups. We do trainings locally, state, and national trainings for people who want to build up those skills, because these are very powerful skills, but you have to know how to use them. We don't go to one meeting with anybody without being prepared. And we do not invite a politician to a meeting where he or she don't know what she's going to expect in the meeting. So what happened is we prepare the leaders, right, to understand, to discover their power first. That's the first part. They need to understand you have power. Some people need to hear that over and over and over and over. Because especially people of color, we feel disempowered. We are undermined, not one, every single time. Sometimes even in our own experience, in our life growing. By the society, sometimes even our own family, right? And by the politicians and by people, so there is so many layers in how we internalize the sense that we do not have power. So I intentionally sit with people. I intentionally help people to discover you have power. You can do it. But that doesn't happen just because I say so. So what we do is, for example, if we have this research meeting coming, we invite one of our members that we call leaders just to share your name and who you are. And we train them in a one-to-one. And let us say that, and this using the illegal dumping. I remember one mom who didn't want to even say her name in front of people. Not ever will dream about asking questions or having the meeting directly with the mayor. So during the learning process with this work around organizing, she started by, sharing a little bit about how illegal dumping affected her life. And, by the next meeting, she was more ready to ask some questions that were kind of challenging questions. By the day of the meeting with the mayor, the council members, and the district attorney, she was the one who ran the whole show. A Latino mom who hardly speaks English, but here she was, exercising the power with the mayor and really challenging the mayor in a beautiful and respectful way. And I'm using just her as an example, but that was the whole group did the same thing. So we, lift up people by giving the opportunity a little by a little to see themselves and the ladder going up. And I can tell you one thing, when people got to what they say, one lady say, I found the green light, there is no red light for me anymore. So when people exercise power and live the experience, there is no way to go back. They can challenge anyone, whether, again, in our organizing work, we met, for example, with the new Senator Alex Padilla. The leaders, what we call ordinary people, were the one who ran the whole meeting with 400 people on the Zoom meeting. We met with the Senator, who is the Vice President, Kamala Harris, right? Same thing. Ordinary people, brown people, black people, people of, Caucasian people. So we form teams that we train. In a one-to-one session, we role play, we check their time. We have so much discipline in this work. It's 1 hour meeting max. We have so much discipline. We believe that discipline in meetings is power. So we time people. in each one of the roles. And the outcome of it, as people live, even if they don't get what they want, what they need, they live ready to come back to push until they get what they want. I talk too much, I know. So please ask more questions and let me know if this makes sense.
Maybe Emma, we should do the role play and people
Uh-huh.
can put questions in the chat, and then we'll see if there's one more so that we are stay on time.
Okay, so Dr. Ida and I will do a role play of a one-to-one. I want you to pay attention to see if you capture something that maybe is you, that helps you, that, something that you capture after my explanation. How much time we have? Because we need to make sure that is 10 minutes okay or is too much?
I think, Dr. Norwood, are we, even despite this tech questions, we are still kept to 2:30, I'm sorry, till 2:35?
Yes, yeah, we'll bring complete closure by 2:35.
2:35. I think we have to keep it to 6 minutes.
Okay, so I set up the appointment with Dr. Ida. I don't know anything about Dr. Ida other than she's the school principal at the director of the school, community school. This is my first meeting. And let me tell you this, I'm gonna share a little bit about myself because this is how we credential ourselves. It's important, okay? So again, we are here. I'm gonna spend 30 minutes and 6 minutes, right? So hi, Dr. Ida.
How are you, Emma?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I hear about some things about your school, and I just wanna. Will you allow me to just introduce myself a little bit and to tell you who am I?
Oh, please. Thank you.
So I'm Emma Paulino. I'm an organizer with FENAC in Action East Bay. I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in Mexico. I came to this country when I was around 26 years, and I got married here with my husband, my Filipino husband. We have 3 kids, and all of them went to the Oakland public schools. So I got involved because I was really concerned about my child, my second child education, and I hope to have more time to talk about this later on. But I just want to hear a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I'm not from this country. I'm Dutch, and I grew up then in Germany, and so English is my third language. It was very scary to learn German and not be at my home when I was 9 years old and up. But I was very afraid of the Germans because they'd occupied my country and murdered my great grandmother and my grandmother, and so I'd always thought I never wanted to be with them. And there they were, my schoolmates and the parents of my schoolmates and my teachers. So very scary. And then I got enrolled in a Waldorf school, and it felt so. Eventually, I started to really trust because I was able to learn through art and beauty and relationship with a teacher who stayed with me for 8 years. And I felt very grateful. And out of that was that I wanted to have a school. I wanted to have an option that all families who feel in any way marginalized could create such a school if they chose, free of financial costs, to serve them and their community. So I'm so grateful to meet you.
Thank you so much, and I really hope to continue learning about, and sharing our stories. I believe that this is really powerful. I never would imagine that you was an immigrant, and imagine that you went through that traumatic experience back in your country. So, thank you for sharing that, and I'm really looking forward to continue building up into this. I'm here today because I was told by one of the parents at your school that there is some concerns that you have around, things happening at the I don't know whether it's in the school or in the school area. So I just want to check in with you. I mean, how do you feel about this neighborhood around the school itself, the building, the whole thing?
Thank you. I'm so glad because I just came to school for our meeting now, and the school, we worked so hard to have it beautiful. I just came, and the whole garage, which we beautifully painted, was graffitied, and there was clothes littered on the front steps of the school, and the whole trash can was turned over, and there was a big garbage of dump and a big sofa dropped in the street. And it really hurts me because our children are coming back next week, and it's been such a hard year. It's so important that we receive the children and the families well, especially the ones who've been under such stress, that they would know this is a nurturing, beautiful place, not just safe but beautiful. So I'm just in absolute distress that there's this kind of ravagement here. And I know I go up on the hills and it is quite lovely.
Mhm. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. That must affect the learning conditions and the learning conditions and the teaching conditions for the teachers, right? It's the students, it's the parents and the teachers. So again, I'm sorry to hear that. Did you hear about these concerns from other people also in your school community, or it's just you, or you
We
think?
just did a survey at the end of the year. What is most on your mind as we come back? And the two really strong, they obviously want their children to get strong education, but the two big ones were illegal dumping and human trafficking, so that the children
Mm,
can feel safe and honored going to school.
wow. Wow, wow. So, would you like to do something about it, or you think you just will like kind of leave it there and continue? Just
I'd
living.
really like to. I don't know what to do. I know it's not just me, our whole community feels very committed to the school and feels committed to the community. Our neighbors suffer also, but I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the lever is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can again schedule another time to continue talking. And also, I want to say, if it's okay with you, will you, have this conversation with other people and see they would like to do something? Because there is a group of people who are gathering together around this issue with the illegal dumping. And, the next meeting will be August 12th. So if you think there's people interested in this and you yourself would like to, we can again, I can sit with other people, have a one-to-one conversations. We are running right now what we call a listening campaign to
Mm.
understand better what affects people's life, and also, of course, to invite them to organize and to do something. So if it's okay with you, can we schedule something for next week?
Oh, for us with some other parents who are
Yes,
interested.
if you can identify some other people, I definitely can come. You have conversations, whether it's one-to-one, so it's small group of people, and you have this type of conversations, and they want to do something, I can give you more information.
Thank you so much. I know that next week they come back, so that would be, and it's going to be so burning on their mind. I would be happy to find out.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna stop right there. Questions, reactions. What? I mean, that was really, really short. There was no opportunity for me to ask the why, right? Why is this affecting? But it was really real that it affects her emotionally. And so, any questions, any reactions? What you think? Did you learn something? Did you see this as something helpful for you?
This is for the audience, a question.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Thank you, Dr. Ida. Yeah, this question is for all of you who were observing, listening.
And so the attendees, feel free to throw something in the chat or the Q&A, or we could even bring you on if you would like to come on and ask a question.
Well, if not, we really hope that this is a tool that maybe at some point you feel helpful for you, and some of the spaces where you are, doing your work. So I really appreciate that you allow me to come and to share with you. These are the tools that we have been using for 50 years, as I said, and I'm really proud of it because right now we are organizing in Haiti and Rwanda, and we have been invited to Tanzania and Kenya and other countries in Africa, and also in Central America. We are organizing there, and here we are in Oakland, also in the Bay Area.